What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/PettyRevenge. Alright, this story's called, "If I'm going to have points taken off, they better be because of the work I did and not because my teammate finds my work unsatisfactory." When I was a freshman in university, I had to take chem as one of the prerequisites for my major. For my lab, I was paired with 3 other students, which all happened to be part of the honors college, and they knew I wasn't. They would often talk about their honor classes and how hard it was to be an honor student, and one of them, whom I'll refer to as Know-It-All, would kinda belittle me for not being part of such an elite group at a public university. Every week, we had a lab that required a full written report, and the 4 of us divided the work into 4 sections. I always volunteered the intro and conclusion since chemistry has never been my forte, but I was a fairly decent technical writer. Not outstanding, but not bad. So I stuck to what I knew how to do. Know-It-All kind of took the leadership role from our team, and she would compile all our parts and turn in the lab report. So we get the first report back, and we got points deducted from both my intro and conclusion. My spirits did fall low because I was sure I did a good job. Plus, I knew my teammates were smart, so I didn't want to be that student. Regardless, everything was fine until a pattern began to develop. Week after week, points were being deducted from the intro and conclusion only. Then, it all went down. After a few weeks, Know-It-All gets one of our lab reports back, and she stands in front of me with that sassy mad look, arms crossed, foot tap and all. She says something along the lines of, "You need to do better." And I'm like, "I'm trying my best," which I was. I was doing so much research and really trying to be accurate. But then, she goes like, word by word, "Well, obviously it's not good enough." When she said this, I was so hurt, and I just stayed quiet because that's who I am. But what hurt the most was that she did it in front of our other teammates. I felt so humiliated. One of the other girls in our team was also taken aback by her comment, and she tried defending me, which I truly appreciated, but Know-It-All just rolled her eyes and walked away. Things didn't improve after that. Points continued being deducted, and it was all because of my sections. Whatever. It's the end of the semester, and I come across all the lab reports that I ended up keeping after the teacher's assistant gave them back. For some reason, I decide to go over them, and the intro and conclusion were nothing like the ones I wrote. Everything had been edited. Format, word choice, and the entire freaking content was totally different. I was furious. I started writing a rant email to Know-It-All, but in the middle of my dissertation, I thought of something better. I emailed our teacher's assistant. I sent her everything. I explained everything that went down during the semester, sent her the original files and the emails I sent Karen that included the original attachments. I asked her to reconsider my grades and told her that I would accept any new grade she believed my work deserved, even if it meant having more points deducted. I was confident in my work, though. I also asked that if she considered better marks for my work, to also grant the same grade to my other 2 teammates, except for Know-It-All. The teacher's assistant got back to me after a couple of days, letting me know that my grades and those of my other 2 teammates had been updated, just in time for the university's final grades deadline. And bam! A+ as my final grade. Not sure what Know-It-All got, since I'm sure she did well in the final, but based on the grade of all our reports, it was a B. I wanted to send Know-It-All my new grades, but unfortunately, I'm not very brave. Plus, I'm sure her and the other 2 students would talk about it and find out, since the lab ended about 2 weeks before finals, and they still had that stupid honors class together. But let me tell you, that feeling of satisfaction I got was enough, even if she never found out. Yo, I would have been so pissed off as soon as I found found out that she had been altering my work? That is insane. Who does that? But anyway, good job on the good grade, OP. Alright, this story's called Crap Talk Me? Okay, I won't hire you. So I worked at a company that had serious problems with appropriate authority. In our office, the office manager would routinely say terrible things about the company, encourage the techs to quit and leave, etc. When I was hired, she was looking for another job and was letting the techs do whatever they wanted. I was hired as a supervisor and discovered several ethical violations, and the quality of work from the techs was extremely poor. We had one tech who was just flat out nasty. She was bigger and tried to physically intimidate another supervisor, who was very short, by standing up over her and getting into her personal space because the supervisor called her out on trying to punish someone else. Basically, they all got pissed because they were allowed for who knows how long to do whatever they wanted, and when I showed up and said you have to do your jobs, they didn't like me. So one day, the next level up supervisor decides that we have to fill out a rubric on how well the techs are doing their jobs. Of course, I get stuck with the nasty bimbo. I do my job, fill it out, and give it to her. She signs it, but acts like I took a giant freaking crap in her cereal. Definitely how dare you tell me how to do my job sort of situation. She begins saying really nasty things about me to corporate, saying I'm terrible and mean to her, saying I'm not providing enough supervision. Never mind, she was constantly canceling, so I would show up and she wouldn't be there. Change schedules with clients, which she didn't have authority to do. I got her in trouble for that before I left, etc. She was a loudmouth, so someone who didn't like her told me all about how she was crap talking me. Tired of all the bullcrap, I just said screw it. I quit and started my own company. I've been very happy since. Cue revenge. A year later, I'm hiring for my company as I'm expanding, and guess who applies to work for me? Yup, nasty bimbo. I cannot tell you how much pleasure I got out of declining her application and clicking that she was unqualified to apply. Hey, nice job. You pulled a Michael Scott there. You freaking started your own company. But freaking nasty bimbo wasn't good enough for it, so hell yeah. Alright, this story's called Grandpa Was, let's say, insensitive. My grandfather was from Ukraine, where his father was a fire and brimstone minister, and his mother was a housewife. There was no progressive thinking, is what I'm trying to say. And because of that, my grandfather had his view of how things should be, and that was that. My grandmother, while also old school, was raised in New York City with a ton of brothers and sisters, and was low-key petty, but in a good way. If you wronged her, she'd get you, but it'd be subtle. My grandmother was complaining at one point that as she was getting older, she was losing her figure. My grandfather, never one to keep his opinion to himself, agreed, and he told her that losing weight was easy. If she wanted to lose it, all she had to do was try. She obviously wasn't trying. Then he threw the gauntlet. To prove his point, he was going to lose 10 pounds and prove how easy it was. My grandmother was low-key pissed, and she did all the cooking. So she smiled and played the dutiful wife, but for months, everything had lard, heavy cream, lots of butter, lots of starches, etc. in it. She made the thing she usually made, but supercharged. Really loaded it up in every way she could. A few weeks later, my grandfather's waistbands were straining, but of course, he refused to say anything. Eventually, my grandmother, oh so innocently asks, "How much did you lose?" She made him get the scale out so he could show her how easy it had been. He had gained like 20 pounds. Never said another word about the topic. That is really dangerous, especially when you guys are old. Your diet is more important, but that's pretty good revenge. He deserved it. Alright, this story's called I'm Sorry That You Hate the Way I Dress. Why don't don't I just keep doing that, Mom? I hope this classifies as petty revenge. If not, I am so sorry. When I was 12 years old, I was taking writing lessons from my cousin. My grandmother was quite concerned that I did not have a proper barn jacket and didn't want me ruining my hoodies. One day, she enters the house with like a hideous windbreaker from I don't even know when. Guys, I swear, I had hard eyes. I loved it so much and I would wear it everywhere. My mother, however, loathed it. She was especially displeased when she saw a lovely elderly chap wearing the exact same one. This only fueled my desire to wear it. See, my mother had this habit of telling me I looked like a homeless child and needed to change. Eventually, I decided it was much more funny to embarrass her than to comply with her destruction of my confidence. One day, my grandmother came into the house and asked if she could borrow my barn jacket for work, as she didn't want to ruin her nice church jacket since her other jacket broke. Of course, I complied, but after a few months, I got suspicious. I finally asked my grandma if my mom had something to do with it. Turns out, my mom called her and told her to get that jacket out of my house. I was mad. My mom got my grandmother to lie to me? My sweetheart of a grandmother who never in the history of my existence had ever lied to me. Cue petty revenge. My grandma still had the jacket and gave it back to me. I waited by the front door for when my mom came home from work. She opened the door and looked at me and her heart sank. I confronted her and continued to wear that jacket until I outgrew it. I started wearing tacky shirts that may or may not resemble the pattern of a bus seat, and it brings me so much joy leaving the house with my mom knowing I'm bothering her just by wearing a shirt. I thrive on going to social gatherings dressed like a tacky lesbian, knowing how much it bothers her just to be petty. I gave the barn jacket to my best friend who also has a horrible taste in fashion, so my mom still has to see it pretty often. Yo, I'm gonna need a picture of this because I want to see how similar our tastes in clothing are. Cause like, usually I try to wear some funky stuff if I can. It's fun. This story's called Treat Me Like Absolute Crap and Favor My Lazy, Incompetent Colleagues Instead? Okay then, you only get 1 week's notice of my resignation. I work as a paralegal in an office and have been here for 2.5 years. I'm currently employed as a casual, but work full-time hours, 36 hours a week. I started off with an amazing, supportive, and friendly supervisor until she left and got replaced with someone within the organization who has been working here for 15 years now. The issue here is I take absolute pride in my work and put a lot of effort. I receive constant praise from the lawyers, and they often email my supervisor informing her about my great assistance with some projects. My supervisor, however, doesn't seem to appreciate this for some reason, and she favors the lazy people in my team who get through by sucking up to her. There have been so many great people who have left because of this woman, and at one point, an external third party became involved to resolve a dispute because of her behavior. I've talked to some lawyers about her behavior towards me, and they informed me that it's pure jealousy because I go to a great law school. I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is, but whatever. I decided that I've had enough of wasting my efforts into this office and apply somewhere else. Also thought about leaving before this so I can get more experience before I graduate my law degree. I applied to become a judge's associate, got accepted, and will start mid-January. This position's salary is slightly higher than my supervisor's too. I'm gonna break the news to her today. She'll only have 1 week's notice. Reminder, I'm casual, so I can do this, about my resignation, and I won't be coming back after the Christmas break, meaning she'll be understaffed in the new year and will have to hire someone to replace me. Merry Christmas, bimbo. Hey, good job, OP. Know your worth. And when your superiors don't know it, you can rub it in their faces later on once you succeed, inevitably. Alright, this story's called Flirt with My Friend on Our Date. Enjoy the bill. Well, it's been a while since I posted here, but here it goes. Last weekend, I went on a date with this woman I met on a dating app. We will call her Hannah, not her real name. Hannah and I had been talking for a week prior via text and phone calls, and we decided to meet up for drinks at my favorite bar. Turns out, my buddy was drinking there as well, so I did the nice thing and invited him to our table so she could meet one of the people I hang out with, hopefully to get to know me better. My buddy was a real wingman, talking me up, telling great stories, and sharing laughs and drinks. An hour into it, and she starts flirting with him. Well, he looks visibly concerned and giving me the, dude, I'm so sorry look. I give him the, I get it bro, not the first time look. So I text him, hey bro, I have a plan. Drinks are on her since she being a thought. He smiled and gave me a nod. He then starts flirting and talking with her, and I'm basically not even part of the conversation. Little does Hannah know that I'm busy ordering drinks. I'm talking a Macallan 12 double, getting my buddy drinks, and buying her whatever she was having. Some drink named after the bar. Too sweet for me. Then the time comes. Hannah has to visit the facilities. Perfect. I call over for the check, and it's over $120 in drinks. I felt bad, but he stopped me, saying, man, this was a date between you two, and if she's gonna ignore you after you went through this trouble talking to her, she ain't worth it. Come on, I know another good bar around the block. First round is on me. I was literally about to cry in this dude's arms for being a hell of a wingman for me on the spot. We left, hit up some Irish pub that I love now, and we had a great rest of our Saturday night. Oh, and as for Hannah, she had to have a friend come over to pay for her because she didn't bring any money and expected me to pay for the date if it went well or not. Suffice to say, I'm gonna stick with drinking with the boys for this holiday season. What? Who does that? Like, who goes to a okay, she was playing some stupid games, but good thing they caught on, and they both still have their hearts intact.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.